You know, one of the things I find fascinating about this particular world of show business are things that could have happened but were stopped mainly by sort of superstar agents who decide that they don't want their client to work with that particular individual, or more importantly, in that terrible age that we lived in, apparently celebrities were too old to be associated with that particular individual. You could put this particular story in that category. The thing you see, isn't it, with celebrity, you never truly know what's going on behind the scenes. And as I say, in this job, I've been lucky enough to meet, work, interview, and become friends with so many stars that really did shape the landscape when show business truly was glamorous. One of them was none other than the brilliant British singer Frankie Vaughan, but he had a Hollywood connection. Now, many people know, of course, that Frankie Vaughan had already become something of a pop mega success over here in the late 1950s, all thanks to appearing also in movies from Herbert Wilcox and Anna Neagle. They tried to turn him into something of a British Elvis, but it didn't quite necessarily work out like that. Now, Frankie told me over breakfast one morning that basically he thought he'd hit it big by co-starring with none other than Marilyn Monroe in Hollywood for Let's Make Love in 1960. He originally had the audition in late 1959, and he was actually appearing at that point in summer season in Blackpool. He said you couldn't equate the two, they were so different. You know, there he was in Hollywood in the Beverly Hilton Hotel awaiting Marilyn Monroe with her then husband Arthur Miller. According to the press team, of course, Marilyn tried to flirt with him outrageously. What we knew later on really was that Marilyn Monroe more really like the main star of the movie, Yves Montand. He simply didn't like her. He, of course, was married, and so was Marilyn, as I say, to Arthur Miller. Now, fast forward, well, about 18 months, and once again, Frankie Vaughan is now back in England, and in his own words, you know, looking for work. He did the very final season at the Palace Theatre in Blackpool before that closed down, and as he said, he was kind of grateful to be doing anything, but he hadn't given up the Hollywood dream. And you see, the association with Marilyn had proven very successful for him, but it wasn't necessarily considered to be her best movie. The bottom line really was, the movie did very well at the box office, but 20th Century Fox were getting a little bit annoyed with the length of time that Marilyn took to make a movie. You get the picture. Even he told me that Wilfrid Hyde-White, one of the guest stars in the show, along with the likes of Bing Crosby, were just exasperated as to how long it took Marilyn to appear on set. So as I say, fast forward to 1961, and once again at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, in the very heart of West London, Frankie Vaughan is sitting next to another major Hollywood star, Gloria de Havilland. Now, of course, she was already an MGM queen, appeared in musicals, and really sort of went to the public consciousness when she married the Hollywood hunk John Payne, he of the Restless Gun. Went on to have 2 children together, and they were what they described as a golden couple. But Gloria was more than just a movie star. She was also an accomplished singer and understood the, workings of musical, developed a nightclub act, and sang with a lot of the big bands of the day. Frankie Vaughan couldn't believe his luck sitting next to her. He thought, wow, this is a bit of an opportunity. And so they got on incredibly well. Gloria, it has to be said, was enamoured with the smooth, dark looks of the very, very, how shall we say, charming Frankie Vaughan. So much so, they retired back to her hotel suite at the Savoy to continue talking. What emerged was this, that apparently Frankie was making a new album and thought perhaps a duet with Gloria on said album could be the way forward, a return back into the Hollywood elite. She quite liked the idea also. Let's not forget, when you think about it, she could understand teaming up with a younger man, good-looking, British, also brought quite a bit of publicity. It was all set, they were looking around for songs, and Frankie's producer, at EMI Columbia, was very keen on the idea too. But then, as ever, a manager stepped in, and they felt that Gloria and Frankie were simply poles apart in ages. They weren't when you look at it, but because she'd been around a while, they didn't feel that this was going to sell particularly well. Frankie was battling the likes of Billy Fury, the emerging Beatles, and so forth. And as he had his big hits in the late 50s with things like Green Door, There Must Be a Way was still some way off. That was 1967. So sadly, as Frankie pointed out, although she was keen and he was keen, the culmination of a Hollywood star and a former British pop idol come superstar, who latterly appeared, again I was lucky enough to meet him and appear alongside him in 42nd Street at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. Well, it never happened. And it's such a shame, as he said, because when you're younger, you agree to things that you don't necessarily think are good, but you have no choice because those above you are far more powerful. Gloria and Frankie, do you think that would have been a big hit for a duet? Two beautiful people singing in harmony. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.